there is adequate room, travel sure gets easier. Take overhead bins. Here's this morning's Jennifer Kashenka.
One more frustration tied to flying these days, the size of the overstuffed overhead bins. But as Scott McCartney of the Wall Street Journal tells us, Boeing and Airbus have finally done something about them. Scott, what was the issue with the overhead bins?
Well, there basically wasn't enough room for all the passengers on the airplane. It was a false promise. Airlines were telling people to bring one bag for the overhead bin, one personal item for under the seat in front of you, and then they were cramming more seats into airplanes and also imposing baggage fees that led travelers to become pack mules and bring everything they possibly could into the cabin. So you ended up with, on many flights, a situation where a dozen bags or more would have to be checked at the gate because there just wasn't room in the overhead bins.
What did Boeing and Airbus do?
So Alaska Airlines really started this, went to Boeing, and Boeing had been thinking about different ways to create larger bins, and what they did was rearranged all the stuff going on in the ceiling of the airplane, moving some conduits and things, and creating more space so you could have a bin that was taller, and also a bin that pivots up into the ceiling. And that allows you to turn bags, rollerboard bags, on their side. And what they created was a bin with that could handle 50% more bags. And with that, there was room for everybody's bag on the airplane. And that was a real game changer. Airbus has come up with something very similar. They call it, Boeing calls theirs the space bin, and Airbus calls theirs the XL bin. And they have been really game changers for airlines, reducing delays, reducing stress at the gate, and making it a better travel experience.
Did the overhead bins that are larger take away headroom?
They did. So the Boeing space bin comes down 2 inches lower. So the air vent, the overhead light, that's 2 inches closer to your head. That may be an issue for some very tall people. For short people, it's actually a bit of a blessing that they can reach up there a little bit easier. And the bins do sort of pivot into the ceiling, so it's more pronounced on the window seat, a lot less pronounced because the bottom of the bin is curved on the aisle seat.
Scott, have they been easy to use? Do flyers know how to put their bag in?
It takes some education. They usually have stickers showing turn the bag on its side. People are so used to just plopping it in. They'll get that it goes in wheels first. That's important. But they lay it flat.
Wall Street Journal travel columnist Scott McCartney. 30 minutes after the hour on This Morning, America's First News. El Paso's News Radio, 690 KPSM.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. The chief economist at a major accounting firm does not expect U.S. inflation to ease up significantly until 2023. Diane Swamp spoke to Bloomberg TV, adding her voice to a number of Wall Street voices pointing to heightened inflation lately. A positive sign for office wear as people emerge from working from home where sweats were the norm. Hugo Boss said revenue and earnings are better than before the pandemic, and the company also raised its profit outlook. Hugo Boss was hard hit during lockdowns when employees gave up formal suits for comfy clothes right in the middle of a turnaround plan. Stocks bounced higher on Wall Street yesterday amid positive earnings and encouraging economic data. The Dow was up 535 points, or about 1.6%. The S&P 500 and the NASDAQ each jumped 1.7% in the session. And the futures are pointing to a higher open on this Friday. Gina Cervetti, Bloomberg Radio. With you for